Alright, welcome back to my Let's Play of Siege of Avalon, here on my channel, Idle Wisdom. We're here again in the first floor of the Inner Keep. Last time, if you recall, we finished our, looking around the upper story, and we came down here, and we recruited Wyatt the Scout. We met some other people. Like Sinric here, who's a trainer who can teach scouting skills, which is pretty cool. Just passing through. He has a little bit more to teach us, but I wanted to save some of our training points for now, in case we meet the magic trainer. And I want to, we'll get all the skills. We also got a job from this one dude named Esmond to return Tracy's ring to Tracy, because he lost it gambling with Esmond, who's too lucky to be a safe person to gamble with. So let's see, where should we go this time? Have we gone over here? I think we just went over here. So let's go over here. If you recall the episode before that, we had succeeded in rooting out another traitor, Sir Aether, from Orion. So there may still be more traitors here. We have to be careful. Ultimately, our goal is to... Have we talked to you? Maris. Hey. Hello, soldier. What's new in these parts? Not a lot. Same old guard duty. Sounds like fun. Not used to it, are you? Where are you from? Orion, sir. Say, could you do me a favor? Pay one of your drinking buddies for that. Grunts don't ask. Oh, come on. I might if I knew what it were. Well, I'd like to get transferred to the Southgate Guard. Soldiers I usually pull duty with have all gotten transferred over there. Since we all get along, I figured it might help pass the weight. So, could you put in a good word for me, sir? Well, don't hold your breath. Oh, I see. I'll see what I can do. Now that's a bit fishy if you've been paying attention, not sleeping in your cups. When were your comrades transferred? Oh, a few days ago. Why do you ask? 'Cause I'm starting to get suspicious. Why is that, sir? Consider that your fellows were transferred to Southgate a few days ago. When I arrived, which was after their transfer, I discovered and slew a bunch of soldiers who had sold out to the enemy. They're your friends, aren't you? They're your friends, you say. Consider also that when I told you I was suspicious, you became nervous. If I were suspicious, and you were not in the wrong, you would have assumed that my suspicions weren't related to you. Well, listen to you. Tell me this, then, old clever one. How is it that you can envision the Sha'awul being defeated? I don't see it. I have a good imagination. They will destroy these walls and come spilling over the wreckage and commence the carnage. I just happen to be one of the few who will survive, because you see, we struck a bargain with Mithras and... Fool! The Sha'awul seek only our deaths. Anything they promise you is secondary to their idiotic religion's directives of destruction. Right, but my part of the bargain will be done long before the fall of Avalon. And now that there is the matter of you. Your continued existence is a threat to shut your traitorous trap. Your bargain ends here. Wow, that was unfortunate. Despair is a good reason for people to turn traitor, I suppose, or quite the motivator for treachery. Yikes. I have encountered and dispatched a traitor requesting transfer to Southgate. See anything on him of any note? A black vest. Black. Oh, black boots. Wow. Those are quite good, they are. Double-bladed battle axe. Wow. Ouch. Leather pauldrons. I'm gonna take this black vest. Bam, sis. It's kind of cool. And these black... And we're gonna take these black pants. Sorry, dude. And these gloves and bracers and leather pauldrons. Meh, you can keep those. Sorry, dude. That's what despair will do for you, I suppose. What a shame. Let's see, actually, what does Wyatt have on him? Yeah, he needs some more gear. Let's give him these leather pauldron. Man, that's awfully bad for stealth. Let's give him these gloves. Those are bad for stealth too, dang. Sheesh. Alright, well, we'll give him those at least. Maybe we'll give him this too. Black boots, we'll just see if he can use it. Alright, let's see you. No. Wyatt. Put these on right here. What does he have? These are... Now those are much better for stealth. Restriction really goes up. Yeah, that's some garbage right there. Dang, blast it. Let's go over to... Let's go to Felix Apprentice. Maybe he can use something. Felix Apprentice, what do you have? I don't like this stupid tabard, really. Get this off, it looks stupid. On you anyways. Although, maybe that's not a good idea either on him. Pants. Let's actually have you talk to Felix Apprentice. Let's take this. You can keep that. Put that and that over here. You can keep your stupid shoes. They're not really stupid, they're just shoes. Let's go back to Felix Apprentice. We'll put this on him. Need to be in more stealthy gear, dude. There. Now there he is. Right on. Nice. Well, that was... Let's... There we are. What a shame. Well, so much for him. Did we get training points for that? We did. We got 5 training points. Wow. I'll have edited it out, but I got my butt kicked twice by that dude. It's kind of embarrassing. Ah, Tracy. There he is. Greetings, sir. What's up? Much the same, soldier. I don't believe I've met you before. Who are you and where did you come from? My name is Tracy, sir, and I'm from Arator. Ever since I was young, I've wanted to be a soldier. My old man was a fighter, but his before him. And I figured I fit right in the scheme of things by birth. Just ask the other soldiers who the second bravest fighter in Avalon is. Well, who's the bravest fighter? Well, whoever you're asking, of course. Unless it's you, I should have known. That's right. I even learned a few things from Cindric. He's a great fighter and likes to teach. I know he'll teach you a few tricks if you're nice to him, which mainly means that you can listen to him pat yourself on the back without making any rude comments, but then I do the same and you've heard me out so far. Alright, yep, that's definitely right. Say... Let's see, anything new? I'll say, you know the ruins Avalon perches atop? I heard a little about them. Out with it, man. I heard it was a temple. I've heard something about that. There must be more to your story. The temple itself was blessed. So the stone is enchanted. That's fascinating, Tracy. I'll be going now. He's heavily armored. You'd think that from everything we learned about people from Arator, you'd think he'd be dressed more like Fellow here, but man, he's a heavy fighter. I ran into a soldier by the name of Esmond who told me, what did that gold-grubbing freak tell you? I'm rather steamed at him right now. No one told me he was Mr. Lucky, and so I wasted my pay on a card game with him. He had the nerve to take my father's ring. Let's see, we can say, he told me that you goaded him into the game. When you lost, you kept asking for double or nothing. You're an imposing figure, Tracy. He probably was scared to say no. Admit it, you were at the bottom of your mugs. Or, he tells a different story. He wanted to return the ring because he says rightfully. But what's that story? He thinks he's done. I don't know. Let's try this. Admit it, you were part of the problem. What? You're an intimidating, imposing dude. So, when you insisted, he obliged. What? I guess I had a bit too much to drink, but he never plays any games. He just keeps to himself. I didn't mean to poke fun at him. It was just my way of getting him to open up and be part of the group. I like to know my fellow warriors. I like to get to know everyone too, but browbeating is not the most successful befriending strategy. Admit it, you were drunk. Okay, I had more than my usual few mugs of ale. I'll give you that. I meant him no harm. I just didn't feel comfortable around people who don't talk to you, don't drink with you, and don't laugh with you. I actually think that's pretty reasonable given the suspicious antics of some of the traitors, but still. Then I'll give you this. It's your father's ring. Esmond asked me to return it. He's worried that if he came to return it himself, you'd think he'd come to gloat, and that you'd run him through. Go talk to him. I'm sure he'll buy you a drink with some money he won for you. Well, thanks to you, sir. You're welcome, but I think you should thank Esmond. I'll do that, sir. Thanks for the suggestion. Just trying to help. Just trying to help. If we're to work as a team, there mustn't be unnecessary friction. Take care of yourself, soldier. Alright, well that worked out better than I thought. Haha. Man, my reading skills need to get better. Sorry about that, but so we did that correctly. And we got 6 training points for that. Jeez Louise, that's good. Anything good here? A steel bracer. Wow, that's a lot of restriction. A piece of fitted armor that covers the arm from the wrist to the elbow. And a girdle. Ooh, let's take that. Yeah, maybe that. You don't mind if we borrow this, do you, Tracy? old chum. I'm gonna take that steel bracer, just for use later. We have to go into the down there where that temple is you were telling us about. We have to go there. And so we need some, every, bit of assistance we can get. Alright, well, let's see what else there is to see. Let's see, okay, let's save our game right quick. Yes, and let's look at our map. So we took care of Traitor right here, and we found we took care of Esmond's problem, and we need to go tell him. So he's back over here, so let's go this way. We told Esmond we would tell him. Or I think he asked us to tell him. Have you had a chance to return Tracy's ring to him yet? Yes, I managed to return the ring to him. He was never angry at you, just a little sloshed. Why don't you take the crowns you won from him in the card game and buy him a few rounds of drinks one of these days? Thank you so much. I don't know how to repay you. Oh, hey, I visited Brother Crosby, and he says the quality of my sleep's been suffering, and he gave me an herbal tea to take care of the problem. And I was so eager to try it, I had a sip, and it put me to sleep in it for an hour. But that scant hours worked wonders. At last, a good night's sleep is only hours away, and he sighs with relief. Ooh. Okay, so, have you heard anything recently? Afraid I haven't, sir. I've been quite a mite busy, and I'd likely spend the next 2 days in bed, and he chuckles softly to himself. Alright, I understand. Farewell, Esmond. Remember, drunken soldiers gain the chance, and incredibly lucky soldiers don't mix. That's for darn sure. Let's see, I've assisted Esmond with his problem with Tracy, and they are no longer enemies. Excellent. Mwahaha. I think we need to get Wyatt like a hood or a hat so his shiny bald head doesn't reflect light and give us away. Let's see. Let's go over here? Or should we go over here first? Let's go over here first. Let's go this way. And we already were in this main area, right? There's no one out here? No, there's no one out here. I think we must have come through here. That chest is open. We're the only one who opens treasure chests in this game. Yes, this is where all those scrolls were, that's right. Firewalker. Firewalker. And this is Captain Nicophorus, or Ambassador Nicophorus. That's right, we did go through this area. Let's see, just make sure. Oh wait, this is like a library. Or a record area? Sage Opius. I'm directing my studies towards learning more about the Sha'ul as a people. If we really understood what motivated them, our leaders could better anticipate what they might try next. Good point, Wise Sage. Your work may benefit all of Urail if it is completed in time. That is, Urail is, of course, the continent as a whole. You know, an analog for Europe, I assume. Sage Iolar. The oldest texts I have located speak of a people that once flourished in this very spot, but they were cast down from their glory and lost from the face of the land. What actually happened to these people is unknown, but I will continue my research until I have found the answer. And please let me know if you find anything. He's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to tell you. Or, I'm not going to look for you anyways. Who are you? Marcus. Greetings. I am Marcus, librarian of the king. How may I help you? Sorry to bother you, librarian. Good day. Now, don't you have any questions for him, you dum-dum, Callan? Sage Fenton. I'm compiling a history of Orion for future generations. I hope to finish soon, for I may need to hide it if the hordes outside the gates overrun us. Even if it survives, I have little desire to achieve everlasting fame from chronicling the fall of my own people. I really don't know what I will do with my work, but right now it's all I have to keep my mind from the harsh realities of the present. There's history being made right now, scholar. Don't finish your book before the latest chapters have been unfolded. He's like, oh, confident are we? Sage Percy. I've been ordered by King Rance to research forgotten medical knowledge in hopes of discovering better ways of healing the wounded. Well, I'm sure the soldiers will appreciate your efforts. Sage Gronk. Most people don't realize it, but the ground below us is riddled with caverns. They go out and down for uncharted miles, and no one today really knows who built them or why. Wow. That's interesting. Have we talked to you? ILR, yes we did. Well, alright. We hadn't gotten here. Are there any more books to read? Oh, there are. Darn it. Let's see, biographies of illustrious Avalonians and the Battle of the Three Hills. Let's see what this. Illustrious Avalonians. Captain Calvaric, the defense commander of Avalon's forces. Captain Calvaric's closest friends swear he must be half-elf. He's got a way with the bow unrivaled by any, as well as a kinship with the force of Aratoy that reaches to his soul. His rank of captain was earned while serving in the Aratoy militia before the Sha'ul conflict. Though it pained him to leave his force behind, Calvaric was one of the first Aratoyans to arrive at Avalon. As of this edition of Illustrious Avalonians, the captain stated, "It's like losing a limb, no pun intended, leaving the trees of Aratoy. However, I'd rather give my life defeating the Sha'ul than let their torches set fire to Aratoy." Yeah, that makes sense. Battle of Three Hills. Many heroes arose from the corpses that littered the fields during that terrible battle, taking place in a valley created between three hills. It was the first true victory of the Seven Kingdoms since the 5 years of Sha'ul aggression began. Over 15,000 knights and soldiers died, pushing the Sha'ul horde out of Orion. Their sacrifice shall never be forgotten. That's awfully high. Jeez. Uh-oh. There's something over here. What are these? A brief history of the elves and the dwarves. Brief history of the elves. Born from the mist of the earth, elves are the first race and will be the last. Their delicate pointed ears and sharp features look strangely human while remaining alien. Legend holds that in the days before the Taborland existed, a war raged between humans and elves, throwing nature itself into chaos. When the land was nearly dead from the strife caused by the war, the elves finally realized their neglect of the earth and ceased fighting with the humans. Peace today remains, though unsteady at times. That wasn't a brief history, that was just extremely brief. Jeez Louise. No one knows for sure how old the dwarves truly are, though it is known that the elves were the first race, or at least the elves tell us that. It is uncertain whether the dwarves arrived before or after humans. Contact between dwarven kind and humanity did not occur until both races were well developed culturally. Having made their homes exclusively in the caves of land, the first humans and dwarves did not meet until well after Taborland had been formed. I take it Taborland was an early kingdom. When the meeting finally did occur, it was fairly peaceful. Both races kept to their old ways and stayed out of each other's paths. That's interesting. We have nothing to do with each other. So we don't fight. We're not in competition. Unlike the elves and the humans, apparently. This is interesting. No one knows how old they truly are, although it's known, quote-unquote, that the elves are the oldest. It's uncertain, blah, 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 blah. That's kind of like, a hint, an homage towards, Tolkien and the Silmarillion and all that, and how the elves were to be the first people of the mortal peoples, even though elves don't naturally die, they can die. But anyways, the first of the people who aren't the, Ainur, that, they were to be the first, but, was it Aule, the Vala, the smith? He was impatient for the plan to get into action, so he created a race of the people himself, a species, and which was the dwarves. But he could give them everything. He gave them life, and biological life, that is, and everything else, but he could not give them actual independent will and intellect. And he was stumped. And so they would only move when he would will them to move, because they were still just extensions of his own will. And so but then finally, Iluvatar finds out, and the Valar find out, and they're like, okay, you need to, that's wrong. So he's like, oh man, so he took up his hammer to smash him, but then Iluvatar granted them actual life and thought. And so then they saw the hammer about to be put on them, and they flinched, and then Aule saw that they were alive, and so he was like happy. But then Iluvatar told him, I think your children will be allowed to become part of this world, but the firstborn will be, the Eldar. And they are not yet, so they will be your people will be put to sleep until the proper time. So, I don't know, kind of interesting. So in one way, the dwarves in Tolkien are the oldest, and yet, in another way, not. Alright, cool. Let's see, anything else? Did we look at this? Illustrious Avalonians, Orim's Freeze. Okay. Friar Massus. The good Friar Massus is perhaps one of the most well-loved figures at Avalon. Once head of the monastery outside Avalon, Massus was forced within the safety of the keep along with the rest of the villagers. Not to be deterred from his divine mission, Friar Massus quickly took possession of a part of the castle and transformed it into a church. Massus has taken the spiritual and physical well-being of Avalon upon his shoulders, tending to the sick and wounded with his small band of followers. As of this edition of Illustrious Avalonians, Friar Massus was searching for new people to put down their weapons and take up the robes of monks, and help him help others. Sounds like a swell dude. It seems cool with us so far. Orium's Freeze. It's actually the Burning of Orium. Soon after the Sha'ul discovered the existence of the Seven Kingdoms, they set about destroying the land the Dirtmen had touched. Orium, the youngest kingdom of the Seven Kingdoms, and very much a frontier land, was torched by the Sha'ul army. An entire third of the kingdom was, decimated. So the Sha'ul very grimly killed every 10th person there. I wish people would not do this. Jeez Louise. They mean an entire third of the kingdom was, destroyed or killed, eradicated, annihilated, slaughtered, leaving behind nothing but ashes. Thousands of refugees fled into the surrounding kingdoms. When the other lands could take no more people, the citizens of Orion made camp where they could, every night praying that an end to the war would come quickly. Farmers returning to their lands after the Sha'ul retreated swore that nothing would grow, so great was the sadness of the land. Jerk neighbors attacking them. Man. Following the burning of Orion, an unusually harsh winter grabbed hold of the kingdom. The Sha'ul found themselves unable to make it through the heavy snows to the lands further west. Those further west, unharmed by the savage winter, rejoiced at their good fortune. However, they realized the terrible price they would pay for this seeming boon. The thousands of refugees who could not find shelter after the burning of Orion were left at nature's mercy. Few survived the blizzards that seized the countryside. Though Orion's freeze brought the allies in the Seven Kingdoms valuable time to prepare for the coming Sha'ul invasion, many innocent lives were lost. To this day, travelers say that the shades of those who perish in that dreadful winter are drawn to a warm fire on a cold night. Yikes. That sounds terrible. Alright. The darkness of Taborland. Did we already read this? Oh, this is Orion's freeze. After fire had taken all that could be had, the once joyful people now all were sad. That's some, top 40 hits radio-worthy rhyme right there. For their homeland was burnt and little remained to eke a survival, yet no one complained. Too loudly at first for those who could have guessed that those from the east were on a dark quest. And while the fire of these people was terrible, 'tis true, the worst was to come, and no matter who you were or you knew, little could be done to survive the horrors of a race who won every battle it fought with no end in sight. How could the Seven Kingdoms make it through one night, let alone survive to tell the tale to their children and offspring of the horrible Sha'ul and the terror they would bring? So a plan was devised, desperate but needed. A storm would be sent, and that must be heeded. Even the Sha'ul for a winter without end would stop even them for given time to send extra men and supplies to defend a way of life from meeting its doom in terrible strife. But the burning of Orion not too long ago left so many homeless with no place to go. The winter came harsh, deadly, and in its severity it kept the Sha'ul from advancing, though Orion wept for thousands of homeless who froze in the snow and the ice and the cold that could only bestow protection to the kingdoms at the cost of the lives of its citizens and denizens who could not survive. So now to this day the stories do tell how the shades of Orion near a campfire do dwell, to thaw out their souls which cannot find rest till the Sha'ul are defeated and the kingdoms are blessed once again. Okay, wow. Alright, wow, that's in verse 4. We got the prose history and then the poetic history. The darkness of Taborland. The kingdom of Taborland enjoyed peace for hundreds of years. With the death of its greatest leader, King Tortain, during the Battle of Three Hills, civil war spread quickly throughout the kingdom. The succession of Tortain's young son, Vortigern, was hotly contested by the nobles. The civil war could not have come at a worse time for the Seven Kingdoms. The Battle of Three Hills was heralded as the end of the Sha'ul conflict. Taborland knights, fearing civil war in their own country, left the Sha'ul front, believing the conflict over. Their decision cost the Seven Kingdoms dearly. What bunch of jerks. Short-sighted foos. Alright. The history of the Seven Kingdoms. Once, in the days before strife and war gave birth to the Seven Kingdoms, one great empire ruled all the land. That great empire, called Thance, provided peace and prosperity to all who fell under its sheltering guard. However, even the most gentle of things has a dark element, and for Thance that element was humankind. Peoples who had lived together for centuries in peace suddenly found themselves lusting for power that could only be had through conquest. Succession wars broke out throughout the once great Thance. From the ashes of that empire arose the 7 kingdoms that exist today: Taborlin, Aratoi, Cathvea, Nissos, Elithria, Oriam, and Fornax. Wow, that's cool. Not really. Fance. Alright, well, I think that's everything. You're like, oh, yay. I'm sorry. That was more books than I thought, but you know, we're playing a good book, so, that's just the way it is. Did we go over here? I think we did. So let's go this way. What do we have over here? See now, yeah, let's go in here. Who are you? Bride chart? Sir? Hello, soldier. You look a tad perturbed. What's wrong? I'm not supposed to be a grunt, but I've always had a fondness for strategy games. So I'm not supposed to be a grunt, but I've always had a fondness for strategy games. So it was little surprise when an army recruiter noticed my decision-making ability and persuaded my parents to enroll the little Brightheart in one of Taborlin's military academies. By the time the Civil War broke out in Taborlin, what I had learned comprised mostly of arms training. So you were ordered to come here to be a soldier, Brightheart? Why? Avalon needs able commanders, especially since the loss of Avalon. See, that's just it. Taborlin already has able commanders and fighters, and in case you were wondering, Taborlin's fate is Taborlin's primary concern. Since the experienced members of our military board needed to quell a civil war, they sent their fresh trainees to Avalon. That's how I came to be here. I may complain, but I follow orders. When order falls, chaos reigns. So he was sent before his advanced training was complete. Let's see. Right you are, soldier. Good luck to you. Prove yourself on the battlefield. You may yet have an opportunity to become a commander, or King Vortigern's forces are on their way, soldier. Soon you will be reunited with your countrymen. Let's say this, because this is more likely. Oh, I've managed to pull General Roth aside a few times and talk to me about tactics, and I think my responses have pleased him. At least my foot's in the door, so to speak. From what I've noticed, he's a great commander. I don't know. I'll take your word for it. As a matter of fact, I believe if he had organized and commanded the raid that was given to Oberon, he would have succeeded. I agree wholeheartedly, but probably for different reasons. Well met, soldier. Farewell. Let's see if he has any. Welcome back, sir. How have you been? I'm doing my part. Brightheart, thwarting traitors and all that. Yes, I've heard about that one. You've actually taken up some time at the supper time conversation. You're beginning to get noticed. It makes me long to get out there and do something, make a difference. You'll have your opportunity. I certainly hope so, sir. My knee's starting to hurt. I might suggest a stool. In the meantime, I'll be getting on my way. I'll be getting on my way. Whatever. Let's see. A soldier named Brightheart bemoans that he is destined for more of a military career than just that of a guard. He seems to believe that his decision-making abilities were noticed by the military while he was young, and that's why he was enrolled. Brightheart does not question the authority of his commanders, but he expresses the fact that Taborlin sent some rather green trainees to Avalon during its period of civil unrest. I have heard, through Brightheart, that my recent accomplishments have occasioned comment amidst the soldiers. They are impressed with my deeds. Mwahaha. They're like, wait, he's so cool. Oh, who is this? Wiley. Good evening, sir. How goes it? Let's see. It goes well enough to keep me alive, healthy, and thirsty for the sweet taste of our defeat. Oi, do you have to compose a poem every time you say anything? Where do you hail from? I'm Wiley, and I'm Fornaxon, sir. To fit the stereotype, to be sure, I was training to become a wizard, but since I had more experience as a fighter at the time, and since Avalon needed more warriors, I was sent here. I was just about to learn my first real spell, too. I missed the mage school. It's where I truly belong. There are mages here you could probably learn from, but still. How was it that you came across your experience as a fighter? Was it not always that you knew your calling to be in the mystical arts? No, I didn't. I was raised in a comparatively poor area of Fornax, and the first school I attended was comprised primarily of bullies. Since my friends were all slighter than I volunteered myself as their defender against the bullies. It worked out in the end. I had been in so many fights that my skills became quite advanced. Huh. Well, how did you come across your sword fighting skills? I'm sure they didn't expect you to go after the owl with your fists. Oh heavens, no. When we became older, we boys were encouraged to settle our differences with practice swords and shield. By then, it was more structured, and those who did not wish to fight did not have to, but most did, rather than face embarrassment and possible gang up. I'll say I lost as many fights as I won, but I never lost my honor. Well, why would one... Well, why would one wed waning warrior with waxing would-be wizard, Wily? What? Exactly. The hell is you on drugs, Callan? How is it that you ended up becoming a combination of warrior and wizard skills? Well, in the time I spent building my skills fighting, I realized it was not my calling. The smarter of my friends were learning simple spells and I was jealous. After all, I never wanted to be a fighter in the first place. I started taking lessons from my friends, and when I finally cast my first spell, I knew I was hooked forever. My friends, grateful for my help over the years, helped me get into the mage school, and there I stayed until my instructor sadly told me I was needed in Avalon, and not for my spellcasting. Well, take heart. We're here because we're needed, not because we chose to come. Well, Callan is, but still. When there is no more need, yes, hopefully we can all go back to the way things were. I hope I'll live that long. As do I, Wily. You seem a right enough fellow. I'll see you later. Let's see if he has anything else to say. Any gossip? Fornax's... Oh, that's right. Despise gossip. But I will tell you that, well, this is going to sound silly, but I can sense something terrible's happened. Soldiers are quick to pick up on Sir Roth's obvious agitation, though few will speak of it. Speculation runs rampant through the ranks, sir. Thank you for the tip. I wish I could answer your questions, but you probably see General Roth more often than I do. Farewell. Yeah, no, actually we do know, but yeah, we cannot talk about it. Okay, so I met a Fornaxan today named Wily, who, not surprisingly, was studying the mystical arts before Avalon's call reached his kingdom. Being somewhat larger than his comrades in school, Wily acted as their protector and gained skill at fisticuffs and swordplay. It was these skills that made him an ideal choice for Avalon's members. Wily wishes to return to his magical studies. He believes that it was that for which she was made. Wily, and likely more of the guards and soldiers, believe that something terrible has happened, because they've picked up on General Roth's agitation of late. Alright. Well, man, we still haven't made it through the ding-dang inner keep. I think next time we will, though. We only have a little bit left. And the library took a bit of our time. But I think I'm going to say thank you for joining me on this episode of my Let's Play of Siege of Avalon here on my channel, Idle Wisdom. Take care, y'all.